Saturday I ran the Marquette Marathon in Marquette, Michigan, up in the Upper Peninsula, and learned some things. It was a little bit of a mixed bag, but it was definitely a great marathon, and I feel like I took a step in the right direction. So the bad news is I did not get my BQ time. It's going to have to wait another year. 2018 is going to be the soonest I can do it. So that was a bit of a bummer. But I got a new PR. I fell apart a little bit in the second half, so I still know I can get a lot faster just by running a more conservative race. But I was really trying for a BQ, and it didn't work out. From miles 11 to 16 is pretty drastically downhill. It looks a little steeper when you look at the profile map than it does in real life. It's actually really nice and smooth and gradual as you're running it, but it is consistently downhill, and I think that's what wrecked my legs. By about mile 18, my legs were in really bad shape. At first, I was thinking I just must not have had the endurance, because I was like, this is unusual that my legs got that wrecked. I've been doing the Fitzinger program this past summer, and the longest run they had was 20 miles, and normally I do like at least 22, 24 mile run on my own training, and I was thinking maybe that was just it. I didn't run long enough, didn't do enough marathon pace runs, etc. But then after a couple more days of thinking about it, I kind of concluded that maybe it was just that downhill section that really did a number on my legs. And I know downhills are, everyone says they're hard on your quads, and I kind of knew that going in, but I think I kind of underestimated it at the same time, because I'm in pretty good shape. I had run like 120 miles in an 8-day span. I just did Pikes Peak Ascent, and so I was like, well, my legs are good to go, you know. But I think that's what it was that wrecked my legs so much, because I find it hard to believe that I could have been that much less conditioned than I thought I was, you know, because I was running really consistently. High mileage, long runs, even the middle of the week I was doing, 15-mile runs, stuff like that. So I find it a little hard to believe that I just wasn't conditioned, unless it was overtraining, but I don't think that was the case either. So that's definitely one thing to be aware of on this course. There is a long downhill descent in the middle of the race, and that can tear up your legs, so be prepared for that. Other than that, it really is a beautiful race. Most of it's on the Iron Ore Heritage Trail, and so it's a narrow, like a bike path kind of a trail, and so you're not on the main roads. The roads aren't beat up and cracked and with potholes and all that kind of stuff. It's just a beautiful, nice trail. There's a portion of it that's on gravel, but most of it is paved and nice and even, and a lot of it like winds through wooded areas, so you got shade from the sun. Not that there was an extreme amount of sun that day, but yeah, it's just a really nice trail in general. At the end, once you get into Marquette, you run along the lake shore, you go out to Presque Isle Park, loop around, and then come back and finish up in Marquette. So it's definitely a scenic course. It's definitely really a nice course to run. Like I said, you're generally in the shade, even if it is really hot out, if there's a lot of sun. Part of it is on gravel, like I said, so that takes a little bit of the wear and tear off your legs. It's a little bit softer to run on. And just in general, it's really nice. It's a smaller marathon. There were only a couple hundred runners, so that's another nice thing. It's not so crowded that you have to, sit there and run slower than you want to, just because it's impossible to get by people, So it really is. I would definitely, recommend it as a cool destination marathon. There's lots of stuff to do up there in the UP. Pictured Rocks is up there, and Marquette has a lot of things to do up there. Mitch Pemming has the Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame. So there's lots to keep busy up there, and it's usually on Labor Day weekend, so you got an extra free vacation day anyway. So I would definitely recommend it. As far as like the logistics of the race, there were lots of aid stations. They had Gatorade and water. They had some gels and things like that to hand out. I didn't take any of the gels because I had my own with me, but definitely was a well-run race. They put on a good race. One other, I guess, big detail to know about this race is the finish is uphill, pretty brutally uphill after it like starts at the 26-mile mark. So like the last 0.2 miles you're running up the hill, and needless to say, that's usually when you're going to be the most tired. So that was really hard. Some people were openly cursing it, but it's really not that terrible of a hill. It's just the placement of it in the course. You know, it's just a bad time to be running uphill. But there were a couple other minor hills, but for the most part, it's generally downhill. So it's definitely a course you could get a PR on, definitely a course you can BQ on. It's just a matter of being prepared for that downhill, which apparently I wasn't, because it can be kind of tricky to train downhills because they are hard on your legs. So it's like you can risk injury and stuff like that. One suggestion I've seen is to just put treadmill on a slight decline and get used to it that way, which I guess if we're going to do this again, which I don't know, maybe I will, I would try that. Definitely be more prepared for that, because I think that's what really got to me. So I finished in like 3:35. I was hoping to finish in 3:10 or under. So that was a pretty drastic failure to get to that point. But the positive side of that is, like, I had to walk portions because my legs were just shredded. So it's like I know I can easily chop off, you know, probably 20 minutes off that without even further training, you know. So I know I am really that close. It was just that my legs just weren't up to it right then. But as far as the weather turned out to be about as good as you could hope for. It was, I think, mid 50s maybe when we started, maybe a little cooler than that, maybe low 50s. We started at 7:30 in the morning up in Ishpeming, and it warmed up a little bit over that. By the end of the race, it was probably getting close to 70, but it was really pretty nice. There wasn't much of a wind. It stayed cool through the bulk of the race, so really couldn't ask for much better than that, especially during, you know, early September, when it could have been significantly warmer. So all in all, it was a good experience. I feel like I learned something from it. I feel like my confidence is kind of growing in a way, just because I know that if I could have just run straight through, I would have been pretty close to the time what I was hoping for. So I found out I'm registered for the Chicago Marathon because I had signed up for that before signing up for the Marquette Marathon. And I had been thinking I would defer it to next year, but I realized that if you defer, you have to pay for 2 years in a row. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and run this in 5 weeks, run Chicago. And I think what I'm going to do is start out conservatively, more conservatively, a slower pace, and then just see how it goes, and just try to get a really good PR, not necessarily BQ, just, you know, go for broke BQ this time, just to get that nice PR, get close to that BQ mark for myself, and you know, build my confidence that way, and basically just try to survive it, because 5 weeks between marathons obviously isn't a great idea, and I'm not going to make much, you know, training gains between now and then. So but I'm just going to try to survive it, hopefully get a new PR, which will be cool, and then have that to build on, and then probably not run another marathon until spring, and take a nice big break between those, get a nice big chunk of training between then, and I really think I can do it. Then, you know, my next marathon, hopefully in the spring, April or May. I'm still trying to figure out which one I want to run, because I don't want to risk, you know, bad weather like at Grandma's this year to throw a wrench in things. So I want to find something where I can be pretty certain that the weather is going to be good. So I'm still looking at that, but thanks for watching, and just wanted to give a summary of how that went. Overall, like I said, mixed bag, but I'm pretty happy with it in general, just because, like I said, it kind of built my confidence, knowing I can do better, and I learn more and more with each race. So again, thanks for watching. I'll be back. I'll do a race preview. I got a couple shoe reviews in the works. So subscribe if you like the content. Thanks for watching again, and I'll be back soon.